welcome back our latest conversation here on the counterattack with the Olympian Tara Prentice. Tara, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right, Tara. One of my favorite people. We share the same birthday, fellow Sagittarius or I don't know how we're also both extremely Irish. How are things in Spain? You just joined CN Sabadell on kind of a full season slate. We're just talking to you after evening practice. Tell us what life is like and how you're enjoying the season thus far.
Yeah, definitely. I moved over here September 1st. That was our first day of training. I literally arrived August 30th or 31st, and I remember just being like super excited to meet the team, be with the team. We're a relatively very new team. Like a few of us returned from the last season, and with that it was really nice just meeting the new friendly faces and just getting to know the team. And now we've been here for a month and we're just training every single day. A lot of gym, a lot of swimming, a lot of water polo, and just a different style of water polo as well. And we're really enjoying ourselves over here. Like I am here with Isabel and we're having a really good time. And we're rooming with Athena from the Greek national team. And between the three of us, we're just having a lot of fun in our apartment and just really enjoying the lifestyle.
How helpful is it? How fun is it to have one of your Team USA teammates and Isabel Williams join you in this adventure as well?
It's amazing. I mean, I played against her when she was at Cal and hated playing against her. She's a wall in the cage, and it's just really cool to like see the person behind the player and just see how passionate she is, how much she cares about the sport, and how much she wants to give back to the sport. And for me, I'm just really excited to be a teammate with her now with Sabaday, but also even for Team USA. I'm really excited for her and her future.
We just announced the water polo passport series. It kind of breaks down who's playing where for Team USA. I think people wonder sometimes, they see the transfer news and they say, all right, Tara Prentice is going from here to here. How does it happen? When you learn that you're going to play for this club and obviously you had some familiarity playing in Europe, are you putting feelers out? Is people reaching out to you? What's that kind of free agency process, to kind of put an American term on it, to
Yeah.
find a new club home?
No, definitely. I think with us, we just have so many resources. Like I know I could talk with Adam or talk with the coaching staff and, express like this need to play abroad and things like that. And for me, it was just kind of an opportunity arose because at the time they were playing with two very strong centers, Paula and Micah, but Micah became pregnant. So in the sport of water polo, most teams have, two centers, and they kind of reached out for me for that tail end of the season, asking if I wanted an opportunity. And it's very hard to say no to Sabadell. It's a great club with so much history. And, Maggie played at Sabadell, Kylie Nuschel, and all this crowd who, are like faces of USA water polo. They obviously got so much better playing with these clubs and stuff. And it was just an opportunity for me. I knew it would really push myself, and always having to be very consistent and making sure, to play at this high level and stuff. And it's just, for me, I was just really wanting to take advantage of it.
And then the day to day, we're talking to you now, and we were just joking before we started. Like it's a bit of a late night, right? In general, given the time zone, but you train later. There's like that midday break. Give us what a daily day looks like in a professional water polo athlete's life.
Yeah, definitely. So for us, we always start around 11 a.m. and we have gym usually 3 to 4 times a week. So like on that Monday, we'll go into the gym, go work out there for an hour 15. And it's really cool. They kind of separate us by positions as well, which is like something a little bit different than America. Usually we all kind of lift together, but the centers have a specific lift. Okay, the goalies have a specific lift. So it's very interesting just seeing a country do it in a different way. And then from there, we'll hop in the pool. Like the mornings usually tend to be like some form of like conditioning, whether it's like we're doing a circuit or we're doing a swim set, or maybe even just working on like individual positioning. Like I'll work on some center stuff or post stuff. And then from there, the evenings are usually scrimmaging. Like today, we just scrimmaged the 16 and under boys, and it's like, everyone has each other in chokeholds, and it's very aggressive, very feisty, but it's great. I mean, like international play in a sense is very similar to that for centers. You're kind of fighting and then, trying to get the ball and trying to make a move, score a goal and stuff. So those evenings really consist of that, scrimmaging one another, like doing 6-on-6. Just we have more people in the evenings as well. In the mornings, it's a little bit different in Spain. Some of the younger girls that are with us in the evening, they actually go and train for their own Spanish national team through CAR is like their training center. So they go train there in the morning. So we have very small numbers in the morning. We'll have like 6 to 8 people. But again, it's really nice just working on those technical skills and just that conditioning. But yeah,
It's
I mean,
fair.
we're
Oh, sorry,
exhausted
go
by
ahead.
the end of the night. No, that's all I was gonna say. We're exhausted by the end of the night, as you and I were joking around, like I'm coming in at 10 p.m. Okay, time to have dinner. Okay, time to catch up with people in America because everyone's awake now. So it's definitely adjusting to that lifestyle as well.
Yeah, yeah. And then, you're coming off of some pretty busy years with Team USA. I was kind of curious how it compares to residential training leading up to an Olympic Games where it's that similar all-in focus on water polo. Are there a lot of similar vibes to those two things? Obviously, there's the Olympics, which is a whole other thing, but just the day-to-day grind.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, like it's slightly different because obviously like for the national team there's the 18 to 20 of us, and then at the end of the day there's 13 that go to the Olympics, whereas we're in this environment now where we know we're going to play all the games, and it's more maybe kind of like a college setting in the sense of like it's not like you can have your 15, 14 people on the bench, but definitely like you're saying that day to day, like the just attention to detail, the focus, like focused on conditioning at the start as well. Like we're starting our league October 11th. We play this Sunday against San Andreo, who just won Champions League last year and is like really up and coming and rising and showing like their ability to play at this high level. So we have like very important games coming up. So although we're doing a lot of conditioning this last month, it's now kind of transitioning into this tactical view, and I think that compares to the national team as well. Like maybe that fall we have a lot of focus on individual skill. Okay, let's focus on getting faster at swimming, things like that. But then as we approach the Olympics more, okay, let's start looking at the other teams. What are they running? What are we going to run against them? So just it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see kind of that transition, like how it'll be in the January to May sequence of the season.
You always hear when people play club water polo that there are perks involved. There's like the local cafe that everyone gets to have lunch at. Is there some setup where you find you and your teammates are kind of doing that team building outside of the pool, sharing meals, that sort of thing?
Yes, no, definitely. It's been really fun. We have like lunch together every single day, and like we get like two courses of meals. They're delicious and it's super fun. We're hanging out, and yeah, we definitely have that social setting, which maybe is a little bit different in college just because like in college you might have to go rush off to class or go rush off to, whatever, aspect you have next in your life or whatever. But here like it's very like routine. Like okay, we finished practice. Okay, let's go have lunch. Let's go have a chat. And it's fun because some people speak English and some people speak Spanish. So it's like been very like quick for Isabel and I to like really acclimate and be like, okay, we gotta we gotta get our Spanish down if we actually want to contribute to these conversations rather than one word answers or like because for me it's very important to show your personality and like your authenticity. If I'm just kind of sitting there like a mute at the table every day, like maybe it doesn't build as much trust or little things like that, but it's important for me to just express myself and, learn this language and, show the teammates we can be, the friends we can be and stuff.
It's funny though. I'm sure there's just stuff that you can pick up just by the cadence or like the intention. I was talking to Kirk Everest last week. Cal has a freshman goalie who's from Spain, and he was talking about kind of the adapting to the American style. And he said, I told the goalie just like say whatever the first thing is that comes to your mind, even if it's in Spanish, just say it, and the guys will figure it out. And I kind of wonder in the pool, even if you don't know what they're saying, like what they're saying using
No,
water polo.
that's what Isabella, Athena, and I, every time we walk home, we talk about it. We're like, oh, we need to be doing this, we need to be doing that. And we're like, okay, this is water polo. If your person has the ball, you got to block the ball.
Yeah.
If you see the center's open, you got to drop back in the zone. Like, it's very, like, you can't be like, oh, well, I didn't understand what they were saying. And this, it's like, no, come on. We all know how to play the game. Like, exactly what you're saying. Like, hopefully by this, October, November, December mark, like when they say atrás, we know that means we need to come back or like, little different aspects of the game. And it has been interesting when Isabel and I are talking about the practices as well because their numbers are different. Like our 1-2 side is their 4-5 side. And so we're always like, okay, do you want me to say it in American or like Spanish? And like it's like half the conversation is deciding what side we're talking about, and then we can finally talk about, okay, this is what we're, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
just adjusting to that as well for sure.
Have you guys landed on a strategy? Are you going to use the European numbers?
Isabel gets furious with me if I try to bring the American numbers. She says, "Nope, we are in Spain. You need to," and so that and Isabel is the boss, so that's how it goes. Yeah, it's a very short conversation. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
It's just kind of talking about your water polo journey, and it's cool that you're there with Isabel as well. You both, she's from Maryland, you come from Temecula, in their own ways, right? Maybe not known as like huge water polo hotbeds. If you think about the other areas where people come from to play the sport at a high level, specifically your journey, you've just been kind of hammered down since Paris, right? You went right, kind of you re-up again with Team USA. You're playing abroad. Did you give yourself time to kind of like reflect on what you accomplished by making it to the Olympic Games? Have you thought much about that, and what feelings come up for you?
Oh goodness, I don't know why I'm getting a little emotional thinking about that. I think for me, it's really hard when you don't succeed in the sense of like that ultimate goal. Like, obviously, we wanted to be on the podium. We wanted to continue that legacy of USA water polo and be Olympic gold medalists. And so, with that, there's obviously a bit of like sadness. But exactly to your point, like, I also like, for me, like, my teammates are most important to me. Like, I look at Jewel Romer now, who's like playing for Matro and like having the time of her life playing. Like, her and I got lunch the other day after her game and things like that. And I think for me, it's definitely been a day by day process and just realizing that, like, just because potentially you don't reach this ultimate goal or like, the winning standard or things like that, it's more important to me, like, okay, what kind of teammate was I? What kind of like, player was I? Was I a hard worker? Was I giving my all? And like, if you give your all to something and it doesn't end up, turning out the way you wanted it to, at least you gave your all. And I know that I did that and I like take that away with me. And I also know there's more room to grow, more room to learn. And I mean, that's why I also came back. Like, I had a really strong sense of like wanting to just improve situations for the future generation, creating a more vulnerable atmosphere, creating a more open atmosphere, because whenever you lose, there's so many more things you can nitpick and stuff. And it's kind of hard because you never want to get down that tangent and you don't want to be like super critical and like just be so negative about the process. But for me, like at the end of the day, like there was a sense of connection that I wish we achieved a bit more. And I don't think that's a bad thing to say. I think all of us have been very vulnerable after this process, and just realizing, okay, maybe this was a bit of a shortcoming of our team, but what are we going to do about it now? And like, for like the up and comers, the Rachel Gazanaga, the Ava Strikers, Emily Osmus just had the summer of her life, like really, stepping into the fold. How do we further empower these individuals to, enjoy their Team USA experience? And I don't know, that really drives me. And I'm very much like a talker. I like having conversations with people. Like, of course, I'm gutted. We didn't do as well as we wanted to, but at the same time, like, I'm able to come home to a loving family. I'm able to play a sport I love. I'm able to go live abroad in a country, and learn a language and learn a culture. Like, if I keep looking at the negatives, like, it just brings you down. Like, you need to realize, like, there's so much more to just winning.
But still, I wonder if you look at your journey, right, and you look at your teammates and kind of the paths they took, right? So you mentioned Temecula, right? Murrieta for high school. You had started at UCLA, right? But then quickly go to UC Irvine. There haven't been as many athletes on the women's side, right? I think you were the first, right, to be from
Yeah.
UCI to make the Olympic
Mhm.
team. Um, it's not impossible, not necessarily unexpected, but it wasn't. I think people looked at that and said, like, there are teammates you had that when they were 15 and 16, they were like, well, it's only a matter of time before she's at the Olympics. I don't know if you had that same expectation in your own heart and mind, or you've surprised yourself with where you've gotten. Like, how do you square your path with where you are?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, just being super transparent, it was like the household I grew up in. Like, I remember like my dad, like he just was so engaging in my sport life. Like, I grew up swimming and stuff, and every single day he'd be like, okay, like, how do you want to get better today? And like, like I remember like we would be watching like a sporting event or like a TV show, and during the breaks I would like do push-ups. And I know that's like such a random like stupid thing, but and like I remember he got like a pull-up bar when I was like 6 or 7, and it wasn't like one of these things where it was like, okay, this dad is overkill. He is like, it was very much more like, hey, there's this here, like, hey, do you want to do push-ups in between? And as soon as he kind of realized, I was like, oh yeah, I do want to do that. Like, I think it was just a very nurturing relationship, and I had that with my mom as well. Like, every single sporting event. Like, she's an ER nurse at the time, and like she would work a 7 to 7, and I'd have like an 8 a.m. game, and she'd be there in the crowd, like cheering me on. Like, so, and like having that support, I feel like every single shortcoming I came through, like where like, obviously I was very stressed when I was transferring from UCLA. This is like a powerhouse school in my head. Like, that could be like a career ender, or like, gosh, she'll never make the national team. But I also like realize the strength of like leaning on those around you and realizing like, okay, if I'm not happy right now and this isn't an opportunity for me to be happy, I need to like change situations, change scenarios, and realize like, it doesn't matter what other people think. It's important for me to be happy, to be a good daughter, a nice teammate, things like that. And I just wasn't achieving that in different aspects of my life, and just realizing to lean on others. And I mean, just being frank too, like I like not in a like cocky way, but I knew I had the potential. Like I knew like I had the length, I had athleticism, and I'm truly not meaning this in a cocky way, but more like just the ability to learn how to work hard and like work hard for your teammates and aspects like that. Maybe I needed to learn that a bit more along the way, but I was always very driven, and I just had a very nurturing environment to support that. And I'm like, I'll always be thankful to my parents, always be thankful, like so many like youth coaches I had, and like at UC Irvine, like I had Dan and Andrew who were really in my corner as well. And I mean, like they did a good job of bringing in Olympians as like the third volunteer coach or like assistant coach. Like I had Elise Williams for a few years. My first year I had Melissa Seidemann, who was like, oh my goodness, like if I had a bad game, she was like on my case. And I was like, okay, like this is scary, And I had Jamie Newshel, who was like, her and Melissa were the same season. It was such a great bonding moment, like them, because maybe they're a little bit different, but also just as intense. And yeah, I mean, like I knew this could come in the future. I didn't know how it would fold or play out, but yeah, I knew this was definitely a potential.
So how great is it then that you can kind of maybe inspire others that you can take maybe a different path, right? And I, what I'm getting at, right, is like it doesn't have to be Newport Harbor to UCLA to the Olympics. No knock on all the great people that have come through there.
No,
There
definitely.
are there are other ways to get this done.
I mean, that's the most exciting thing about sports. They love the underdog story. They love, people coming from random places and just aspects like that. Like I just think I really like always lean on like the importance of like leaning into others, leaning into your coaches, leaning into your teammates. Like, like trust is built like by like camaraderie, and you can't do this alone. It's a team sport. Like if you try and just shoot all the goals or different aspects, like you need to like read the room, you need to read the situation. There's so many other aspects you need to develop. You need to learn to be humble, you need to learn to be a good teammate, and just so many other aspects. So I just think like for those who maybe have the background where they're like, oh my goodness, I will never make a national team, like maybe look at some of this, exactly what you're saying, look at some of the backgrounds, look at the stories, but also realize like if you put yourself in positive situations, if you're going to practice every single day, if you're talking to your coaches about these aspirations, talk to your parents about these aspirations, or people you confide in, say, hey, I want to go play Division 1 water polo one day. And also realizing if you don't play Division 1 water polo, it's not the end all be all. Maybe you're going to be great in some other aspect of life, or even who knows, you could go play fantastic in Division 2, develop, go play abroad. You like the one thing you learn in sports, it's never written down and okay, this is exactly how it's gonna go. You know what I mean? You just gotta stay the course and be relentless in it.
You mentioned your parents and your home life, and I got the chance to talk with them a bit in Paris. A fun group to hang out with, by the way. Um, but I knew you were Irish. I didn't realize your parents were like from Ireland.
They
So
are
what's
legit.
yeah, legit Irish. Is there like a fun cultural thing or something like that they brought from home that was like part of something you guys did that maybe was like not common in America, but was like a thing that they always, like I can remember my grandmother putting on like the Irish Rovers and like music stuff like this. She's from Ireland originally. Like, was there a thing that they brought to your childhood that stands out fondly?
Ooh, that is a good question. Okay, so I would say there's two things. So because they lived in Ireland, it was way easier for them to obviously have vacation in Europe. Like every summer, my mom would go to Italy. It was like her family's vacation. They would do like I think it was like a road trip thing. Like they would drive to like London, take a ferry. Like it was this whole process. And every summer they would just enjoy that family trip in Italy. And so for us, we always had a strong sense of travel. Like we went, like I've been to Ireland probably 5 or 6 times. Like I haven't been there in so long now just because of sports. Our summers are so busy and stuff, but just that strong sense of travel and seeing what's out there has been something that I've always like really enjoyed. And then I would say, like, I'm the oldest in my family. And so, like, my dad would wake up at like the crack of dawn for the soccer games. Like, if they were playing at, I don't even know the times, like 1 or 3 p.m. or whatever, it would be like, our 7 a.m. or like ridiculous time. So I remember I would like wake up like early age, like, 6, 7, 8, and be like, oh, my dad's been up since 4. What the heck is he up since 4 for? And so obviously I ask him and he's like, oh, well, I like Leeds United. And so that kind of became like a strong sense of my childhood as well. Like every weekend, if I didn't have sports early in the morning, I'd be up at like, crack of dawn watching. And I liked Chelsea at the time. And and I still do like Chelsea, but just watching sports over the weekends. And that was just such a nice bonding moment because maybe I'm not like having full on conversations with my dad because it's 5 a.m. and like no one needs that. But it's just the sense of like, cheering for a goal at the same time or like a really good defensive play and being like, oh my God, like he got it such a nice tackle there. Like that was very a strong, like, just a sense of like also like committing to something, like, you know what I mean? The simplicity of like, okay, waking up every morning to go watch Chelsea play or go watch Leeds United. That's my dad's team. And yeah, it's just that aspect of life because in America, soccer is definitely popular, but maybe not as
Sure.
popular as like American football or basketball, which is, you know, every country has their own what they like the most. But for me, like that strong sense of soccer in the household was always really fun.
And your brother's a pretty legit soccer player, right?
Yeah, he's off to so he's doing a gap year right now, and then he's going to be off to San Diego State, which is
Very cool.
amazing. Yeah.
Um, Good stuff, Tara. Last thing for you, you're in all these indoor pools now. I wondered how much you're enjoying not having to wear like 4 gallons of sunscreen every day.
See, that was the other thing I was going to compare you and I because we both get so sunburnt. If we're out in
Yes,
the sun, like this is
yes.
just it's Irish, it's the way it goes.
Just we're not we're
It's
just
been
not meant for it.
amazing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
been amazing. The pools are cold as well, which I like. So it's like a double like because if you're in an indoor pool and it's like 100 degrees, that ain't it. But if it's a
yeah.
cold pool as well, you are flying. You can accomplish anything in the world. You have opportunities. There's it's amazing.
Oh, that's great. Well, Tara Prentice, thanks so much for joining us here. Good luck the rest of the season here in Spain, and we'll see you back with Team USA very soon.
Thanks for having me.